you set your agenda and you think, I'm going to get all this done in a day's time, but you really don't realize that stress, the emotional toll that stress takes on us.
Hmm.
And I don't know about you, but it's taken me longer sometimes to get things done.
Right.
Um, how have you managed your own personal stress?
Well, and I think about that stress when you mentioned that. I think of those big, huge power lines that go through neighborhoods sometimes, and they have that buzzing sound.
Right.
That's how I feel like it's like this constant low level buzzing sound that pre-pandemic we didn't have it. It would escalate and go up and down, but now it's like this just constant buzzing. Like, when is the next shoe going to drop? Or I grew up in California in the Bay Area, and we'd have earthquakes, and you get the big earthquake, and then you just wait for the next one and the next, and that's it's been months of this. So you're right, the amount of stress that I think is on us and we don't even realize it. So one of the things that I do, and I started this really early on when we had to begin sheltering in place, we all, our company did what we had to do to make sure everybody had everything they needed to work from home. Every morning I would still do my workout routine, whether it be, going for a run, taking my dog for a walk, or lifting weights. I would come home, I would get ready for work, and I would,
Mhm.
whether it was on just the top half or not, I looked like I was going to work. And
Mhm.
I'm fortunate enough to have a whole separate room in my house that I can set up a workspace. So I created a firm difference between my personal life and my work life as much as I could. And my daughter just started a new job, and she's now working from home 100% of the time. And she said it's hard to do that transition. And I said the thing I did is I made sure I was getting ready for work, and that's something that worked for me to self care. The other thing, Debbie, that I found, and this I kind of stumbled upon it, but I actually did a talk about it. Every year we would do, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we would set out 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle on our dining room table, and it would motivate us because we had to have it done by Christmas dinner because we only use the dining room table twice a year, right? So I have probably done maybe 12 1,000-piece puzzles since the pandemic started, since we started sheltering in place. And what I discovered is it was a place of peace for me and comfort, because there was a fixed border, there was a fixed number of pieces, there was a definite picture, a goal I was headed towards, and it was like a balm or a salve on these open wounds. And if I could just go there, and I would listen to an audible, or I would listen to music, or I would not listen to the news. And these jigsaw puzzles for me I would just gravitate towards them because it brought me comfort. Um, so I would say three things: exercising, getting ready for work every day, and doing something that brings you comfort, even though it may be superfluous or indulgent. As long as it's not hurting you or someone else, I would suggest that those three things to get through the unknown and the length of time that we don't know.
Those are great coping strategies. In real estate, we talk about in your budgets, because we've all been in budget season, in addition to COVID,
Yeah.
is controllables and uncontrollables.
Hmm.
Control what you can control. And the things that
Absolutely.
you can control is the things you listen to, the things you eat, the people you hang around with, your environment. I think that was an excellent recommendation is you have to, what I call, suit up, for battle. And I do better when I'm dressed for work.
Hmm.
It's a mindset.
It's
And
definitely, yeah.
I think that, you having that, what I call those lines of delineation, um, a lot of people had offices at home, but they weren't organized and they didn't
Hmm.
have a place that, they could do their best work.
Yeah.
That lady Marie Kondo, she
Yeah.
wrote a book called, you've read
Yeah.
her, or
Yeah.
you know, what sparks joy. And
Yeah.
when you were talking about that puzzle, everybody's got a different, meaning of what sparks joy.
Yeah.
But the other thing I think that you said that was very important too is breaking up your day. Like you can't stay focused for, I think Cal Newport in that book Deep Work says you can only really focus 35 to 45 minutes at a time.
Hmm.
So I think it's
Yeah.
important that people break up their day,
Yeah.
and for those parents that have, become automatic educators and they're
Yeah.
managing children at home, and, you know, um, I think it's important too, and I've been reading a lot about setting expectations for yourself and your team
Hmm.
and cutting ourselves some slack.
The
You
grace
know,
that you give your best friend, you need to give to yourself. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what would you say to your best friend, because I think we're so self-critical and we can really beat ourselves up.
Right. One of the other things too that you mentioned, just that community service, thinking about others rather than my own, wallowing in my own self pity, has been helpful. I have very little to complain about. We are so thankful in our industry that we have been essential, and most of us have been able to keep working
Mhm.
and all of that. And there's a lot of people that haven't, and so I'm very thankful for that. And I try to focus on that and how can I help others or my team? How can I help them feel connected? Those kinds of things. The other thing is, my husband's father is 90, turned 90 in August, and he moved in with us in May. He fell in April. They didn't have a rehab facility for him, so we had the space for him to move in. So that's been kind of a blessing in that there's someone else for me to think about. Our kids, we're empty nesters, so our kids aren't home. So I guess we're the sandwich generation now. The parents are moving back in, and so that has been a blessing to have him and be able to make sure that he's taken care of and comfortable and all that stuff. So
I
it's been
saw the other
good.
day, it said, no matter how bad you think your life is, it's someone else's fairy tale.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
the thing too is not to feel bad about it, but what can you do with it? What can you do with it to pay it forward?
mhm.